Why do I get so nervous before these? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about camera equipment. None of the exciting big stuff like camera bodies, cinema lenses, huge gimbal systems. Instead, we're going to be talking about the small items that nobody really cares about and nobody discusses, and they're not glamorized in the slightest, but I personally really like. That might be the worst sales pitch for a video ever. What a boring sounding video. Look, trust me, this is going to be interesting, all right? Okay, thing number one is this. It is a Tiffen Black Pro Mist filter. Some of my cinematography friends kind of joke around with me, saying that I'm actually a salesman for Tiffen because I bang on about these things so much. And it's for good reason. They are, my lenses never are without them. You know, they're like coupled, they're like glued to the front of my lenses, basically. And the effect is so subtle, you wouldn't even really notice it if you weren't looking for it. But essentially all it's doing is blooming out the highlights, so adding like a little bit of kind of softness around those. It's softening all of the midtones, and it's also raising the black level ever so slightly. What it essentially does is give a slightly more vintage, slightly more characterful look to any lens that you put it in front of. So if you put it in front of a modern lens, then it's just going to dirty it up a tiny bit, and if you put it in front of a vintage lens, then you're going to basically magnify the dirtiness already coming through the vintage lens. Next item is this. It's a clamp. I love these things, okay? It's another one I'm a bit of a salesman for when it comes to being on set. I'm telling everyone about how great Mathellini clamps are, just because you can kind of stick them anywhere and you can mount lights anywhere. Like if you have a beam, or if you have any sort of like thing that this can grip into, you suddenly have just a light stand. You know, you can mount lights into ceilings, onto walls, onto the sides of things. I use them all the time. It makes lighting setups incredibly versatile. And most importantly, that's just really satisfying. Now, whenever I'm on filming jobs, I tend to be on filming jobs with my girlfriend. She's like my assistant. She comes with me on pretty much every single shoot. I get taken the mick out of a lot, mainly by her, sometimes by the other people in the crew, because I will always wear a bum bag. It is just all the stuff that I'm going to need a lot. So things like multi-tools, you know, bridge plates, screwdrivers, all that sort of thing. People are always asking me why I don't have a mustache, and that's entirely thanks to Harry's, and has nothing to do with my inability to grow one. 6 years ago, Harry's founders were tired of paying for overpriced and overdesigned razors, so they gathered together a bunch of money, they bought a razor factory in Germany, and since then they've been producing Harry's razors. They're helping millions of men achieve a wicked clean shave every single day. They very kindly sent me their starter set, which comes in this rather lovely packaging, which I'm going to unbox for you right now, and it includes a textured rubber grip, 5-blade razor cartridge, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades while you're on the move. The price is madly good value, with refills starting at $2, and the blades guarantee a close and comfy shave. Ooh. Honestly, this is a seriously sweet deal. Just head over to harrys.com/mumbo to pick up your trial set for just $3. That is harrys.com/mumbo to pick up your trial set for just $3. Get that nice clean face feeling. They haven't asked me to say that, it's just, for some reason that came to mind, and I'm sticking with it. Right, back to the video. So this is the next item that I wish I'd bought sooner. It's by far the most expensive and also the biggest and heaviest item that I have mentioned in this list, which means that I'm about to put it down now because I can feel myself break into a sweat, which is very embarrassing. I'm so unfit. So as I say, this item is relatively expensive. I bought mine for £600, which is around about $800, which is a difficult pill to swallow, given that it is essentially a fancy fog machine. You know, when you used to go to like kids' discos, and that's basically what this thing does, but instead of doing it in like a plume of smoke, it will fill the room with atmosphere. So you won't have any visible fog going around. Instead, the air will just get thicker. If you have a hard light coming in through a window, you're going to get shafts of light coming into the room. It looks absolutely stunning. Even if you've got soft light coming into the window, you're just going to get a brightening of the air around the window, and it adds so much depth, so much atmosphere. I absolutely love it. It was money well spent. The light meter is one of those pieces of equipment that is becoming less and less common on shoots these days, but it's something that I personally use all the time, just because I like to accurately measure exactly what the light in my scene is doing. For example, if I want to work out how much of a contrast ratio I have going on, I don't have to rely on the monitor of the camera. Instead, I can measure it and know that this side of my face is currently 3 stops brighter than this side of my face. So I've got a 3-stop contrast ratio. Having a couple of large sheets of fabric like this, both in black and white, is going to come incredibly handy, and there's something that I use all of the time. As you've heard me talk about a bunch in the past, we use those black sheets to create negative fill to increase the contrast ratio on people's faces, but then I use the white sheets to bounce light around, or even diffuse natural light coming through windows, or even diffuse lights from my actual lights, my film lights. On the topic of lighting, you guys have heard me bang on about these a ton, but boom. These little things, just little battery powered bar lights. You can put them in scenes, they can be visible, they basically look like fairly standard fixtures, and they just allow you to add shape into places where otherwise you wouldn't be able to. They're tiny, you can mount them to things, making use of the Mathellini clamps, you can clamp them to stuff, and they look like lightsabers. I mean, what's not to like? So I think that just about wraps things up for today. I think that's all of the kind of weird and obscure but incredibly useful camera equipment that I personally love that nobody else seems to care about, partly because it's just very unglamorous. It doesn't make for the best YouTube title. 7 pieces of equipment that nobody's really excited by, but I personally think are handy. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's not the sort of equipment that people really get excited over, but I really do hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya!